Thank you, and welcome to this Wednesday, September 18th meeting of the Easthampton City Council. Could I have a roll call, please?
Justin Cobb.
Present.
Donald Slikowski.
Here.
Salem Derby.
Present.
Dan Hagan.
Present.
Joe McCoy. Chester Oglevitz.
Present.
Dan Rist.
Here.
Joy Winnie. Nathan Ziegler.
Present.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion on the table to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Is there any further comment on these minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition or abstentions? None said, motion passes. Before we get to public speak, I'd like to make a quick public service announcement here, given the time. It's basically October 8th, 2013 is a special election. We all know that. You have until 8 o'clock tonight. Primary, rather. Thank you for the correction. You have until 8 o'clock tonight. If you haven't registered to vote, please head down to the clerk's office at the municipal building. There's still time to vote until 8 o'clock tonight. And the absentee ballots are now available for those who are not going to be around for the October 8th primary. That said, thank you very much. This is a very important election for us, given the vacant Senate seat. That said, public speak time. Is there anyone here who would like to address the council on anything that's not on our public hearing agenda? Please step forward, state your name and address for the record, please.
How you doing? I am Patrick Bruff from the Greater Easthampton Chamber of Commerce. I live on Brick Street in Easthampton. And I just wanted to take a minute to talk to you guys today about October 8th, coincidentally. The Chamber of Commerce, the Greater Easthampton Chamber of Commerce, will be holding a mayoral forum. We have 4 candidates who are running for mayor this year, and the Chamber has put together a forum where we're going to, it's almost like a debate, but we're calling it a forum. And we have reached out to all of the candidates. They've all agreed to come. We are collecting questions from our members and as well as the general public related to the business climate, or what the next mayor how the next mayor will see our, backing up a second. We're asking for questions that are related to the business climate here in the city of Easthampton. So those are some things that we're going to be looking forward to. I would also ask, or I'm also going to send out a message to all of the city council candidates. We are not holding a forum for that particular group of candidates. However, we would like to invite them all to that event on October 8th, because we'd like you to meet and greet with some of the people who will be attending that event. That event is going to be open to the public. It's going to be held at the Eastworks building at the event space that they have, which is on the first floor at the Riffs end of the building. Again, it's going to be open to the public. ECAT will be there to record it. We're not sure if we're going to stream it live or how that's going to work yet, but it will be recorded and will be replayed at some point in time. The other piece I'd like to just mention really quick is the bridge. The bridge is moving along as we had all hoped, and we continue to put out updates. There's a lot of work that's going on as far as pavement work, curb work on the West Street end of the bridge. So over the next couple of days and probably week or so, they are working to get a coating of pavement on there. At the end of the project, or towards the end of the project, they're going to repave the entire section from out and around the True Beer area all the way up just past where the light is. I think it's 100 or so feet, give or take. But for now, they have to do some prep work for that. So you can expect to see some delays probably over the next few days or even a few weeks as far as they do that. So I just wanted to give that quick update to you guys, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
The date of the forum?
The date of the forum is October 8th, 6 p.m. at the Eastworks building. Thank you.
Is there any other members of the public who would like to step forward and address the council on any item not currently on our public hearing agenda? Please do so. State your name and address for the record. Seeing none, communications from elected officials, boards, and committees. I'll step in and try to handle some of this. The first item is for your information. It's actually from the superintendent of schools. It concerns the fiscal year 2003 municipal school spending. You'll notice it's a little bit of a spreadsheet. It does deal with some interesting writing, and it's a good comparison to the mayor's report. Please read that. The next item before us concerns a request from the retirement board concerning benefits payable to widows and widowers given a section of law, Chapter 139, Acts of 2012, that has recently been updated. They would like that for us to review. That said, since I won't make the motion, I'll ask Councilor Hagan to move this to Finance.
I'll make a motion that we move the request from the retirement board to accept and amend chapters, section 101, chapter 32, and send that to the finance subcommittee.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to recommend sending the aforementioned request to Finance for review and consideration. Is there any further comment on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions or objections? Motion passes. I do have one other item, seeing that the mayor is not present, so I'll read this while we're here, or I can wait. I'll wait until the mayor's communication, and I'll read it then. I do not have any other correspondence, and so I'll read this here. This concerns a proclamation. It's the employer support of the Guard and Reserve Week. I fully support this proclamation to start out with, but it reads as follows. Whereas National Guard and Reserve forces comprise nearly half of our nation's military strength and are essential to America's national security, reserve component forces stand ready to answer the call to serve, whether serving alongside active duty counterparts all across the globe or responding to humanitarian crises at home and abroad. And whereas employers provide critical support to members of the National Guard and Reserve, allowing citizen warriors to serve whenever the nation calls, often foregoing financial gain and making sacrifices in the process. And whereas employer support is stronger than ever, more than 41 years after President Richard Nixon authorized the Secretary of Defense to establish the National Committee for Employer Support of the Guard and Reserves. And whereas our nation is in debt to our citizen warriors departing the comforts at home to ensure our freedoms remain intact, likewise, America pays special tribute to the commitment of dedicated and supportive employers who continue to make service in the reserve components possible. And now, therefore, I, Mike Latosnick, Mayor of the City of Easthampton, do hereby declare September 22nd to 28th National Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve Week. This is dated today. I fully support this, and hope if you meet someone in the Guard on the street, you should shake his hand and give him a good hearty thank you for his service. That concludes. We do have a little bit of time. We'll head to reports of standing committees. Councilor Rist, rules.
No report this evening.
Councilor Hagan, finance.
First off, the next finance subcommittee meeting will be September 25th, 2013 at 6 p.m. room 1. At that time, we'll be taking up a couple of new items, which I will either do now or at new business, whichever the chair and the council would like.
We do have some time. You can read them out.
Then I would like to.
We don't have any public hearings.
No, we do not. These are just reading these out. as
I
a
know what
first
I'm
reading.
saying, is you have plenty of time.
Plenty of time. Okay, if we could,
We're on the same page.
Yeah, just follow the chart. Yeah.
these are two new items that were just presented tonight to the council, and I'll do a first reading in the form of a motion. This is a request for a supplemental appropriation dated September 12th, 2013. The request is hereby made to approve the following appropriation. Amount requested $25,000 to be appropriated from CPA Open Space Fund, $25,000, and appropriated to the CPA football field project in that amount, $25,000. The amount requested will be used for the following purpose: professional services to develop plans and specifications for a new football field at Whitebrook Middle School.
Do I have a second? Or was that read in the form
That
of a
was
motion?
read in the form of a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to recommend the supplemental appropriation request of $25,000 be reviewed to be forwarded to Finance for review and consideration for the purpose of develop plans and specifications for a new football field at Whitebrook Middle School. Is there any further comment or discussion on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any objections or abstentions? Motion passes. Councilor Hagan?
Another item that we just received tonight, but I'd like to move to finance, and I'll do this in the form of a motion in a first reading. This is an interdepartmental transfer dated September 18th, 2013. The request is hereby made for the approval of the following appropriation: $24,000 to be transferred from the reserve fund, $24,000, and transferred to building operations power, $1,000, and building operations heat fuel, $23,000. The amount requested will be used for the following purpose: to provide funds, electric, fuel, and heating costs at Payson Street School.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to recommend approval of forwarding the following interdepartmental transfer to finance for review and consideration of $24,000 to provide funds for electric fuel and heating costs at the Parsons Street School. Any further comment on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any objections or abstentions? Motion passes.
A third item, also, this one is listed under our new business, is an interdepartmental transfer, and again, I'll do this in the form of a motion. Dated September 3rd, 2013, the request is hereby made for approval of the following appropriation. The amount requested, $100,000, to be transferred from interest expense, $100,000, and transferred to principal payment, $100,000. The amount requested will be used for the following purpose: to correct the purpose for this existing budget appropriation. I'd like that sent to finance.
Second.
We have a motion on the table to recommend the following interdepartmental transfer of $100,000 be sent to finance for review and consideration. The amount will be used to correct, for the purpose of this existing budget appropriation, to make a correction.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Any further comment on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any objections or abstentions? Motion passes. Councilor Aiken, you still have the floor.
Also, related to this matter, because it's a bookkeeping item, I would like to set a public hearing on this matter for our next council meeting, which is, I believe, October 2nd at 6 PM. And I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
We have a motion on the table to set a public hearing for the interdepartmental transfer of $100,000 to correct, for the purpose to correct for this existing budget appropriation. Is there any further comment on this motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Any
also-
objections or abstentions?
Sorry.
All set?
Mhm.
You still have the floor.
Also, I'd like to set a public hearing on the interdepartmental transfer listed under finance for the $11,000 for the Gatsby study. This was passed in the subcommittee, but we need a public hearing, and I'd like to set that also for October 2nd.
Second.
We have a motion on the table to set a public hearing for an interdepartmental transfer of $11,000 to provide funding for mandated post-employment benefit actuarial study at our October 2nd, 2013 meeting at 6:15 PM. All those, any further comment on the motion, rather? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any objections or abstentions? Motion passes.
And our final item of business today for finance is the senior work-off program. This is an item that's been on our agenda for quite a while, and at the last subcommittee meeting, we did vote 2-0 to request that this be approved. And what we're doing here is only giving the administration the option to sometime down the future, if they feel it is in the interest of the citizens of the city, to implement this. This is just the first step that we would need to do to accept this type of program. It's not actually setting up the senior work-off program, it's just setting the mechanism for a future time if the administration wanted to come forward with it. I would, Councilor Rist was not at the meeting. I believe he was in support of it, but I would like to give him at least a couple minutes to, talk about his view of it, so.
Councilor Rist?
Yes, for the council, for the record, I have great concern that the administration, the future administration that might implement this, there was some concern from our finance director that this creates a bureaucratic nightmare given the nature of it. However, I also feel that it is an excellent program on its face, and I think if other cities and towns continue, there are some that Councilor Cobb was very nice to provide us with, like the town of Canton. There are other cities and towns that have adopted it and are implementing it, and that we get more of their experience. Maybe the future administration will adopt it. But I was concerned that at the time of adoption that the council would have some say again, and I was relieved to find out under Section C of the guidelines that, I'm going to read this, after acceptance of the statute, the selectman, town council, or mayor, with approval of the city council, may establish a senior work-off program consistent with any local rules and procedures the municipality may adopt by bylaw or ordinance. In other words, this can't be implemented without our say-so again. So by adopting this, the administration can move forward to look at the future administration, I don't know, it probably won't be done this year, would look at it and decide whether it was worth doing. And then the administration would have the time to put together the rules and bring it to us by ordinance. So I'm very happy to support it because that's the guidelines. Thank you.
Okay, have anything else you want to say, Councilor? Before we go forward, what I'd like to do is, my intent in pressing this forward was actually quite simple. It was to put that tool in a toolbox, and I've always spoke at a number of meetings that this was my intent. We've gathered a lot of supportive information in case we wish to establish a full-blown program. But my intent was to put a tool in a toolbox, so if it is deemed that this is a worthwhile program, given the growing number of communities that are already doing this, that we've already taken the first step to save some time. We already have the data to develop a program, so it becomes easier for, and my intent was for the executive branch to come forward to the council with a full-blown program, well-designed, well thought out, that we can then vote on, given the discussions we've had. Is there any further comment on this, Councilor Hagan?
Just one quick comment. I had some of the same concerns, especially Councilor Rist, about how it would be implemented if it came forward. And we did look at the law that evening when you weren't there, and I was comfortable. And I did have to go and with the help of the city clerk, we did have to come up with a specific motion because it's a acceptance of state law. So the motion which I'd like to make will be in the wording of that we need to accept a state exemptions.
Excellent.
Can I just
Sure.
get a little clarification? So by accepting this, we're giving the city the ability to allow seniors to work off part of their taxes.
No.
Is that, am I wrong in that assumption?
We're giving this-
Oh, go ahead.
Councilor.
Go ahead.
We're giving the city the option to establish a program to do that.
Right.
Right
So-
now, they don't have that option.
Okay. I mean, to me, it seems like it's a great idea, and that I also see a role for, our senior center and possibly helping coordinate some of that component. And I would be in favor of this if we even move
Went
further.
forward, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first step, and it would obviously be something that the administration would have to develop the specifics and then come to the council for final approval. So
Well, that's great.
Any other comments on this? Hearing none, Councilor Hagan?
yeah, I'd like to make the following motion. I move that the city of Easthampton accept Chapter 184, Section 52 of the Acts of 2002, amending Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5K, the Senior Citizen Property Tax Work-Off Abatement Program, effective July 1st, 2013.
Okay. We have a motion on the table to recommend approval of Chapter 184, Section 52 of the Acts of 2002, amending Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5K, named the Senior Citizen Property Tax Work-Off Abatement Program. This is effective for July 1st, 2013. Is there any further comment on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any objections or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passes.
That concludes finance.
Okay, I'm going to actually break here. The mayor has come into the room. I'm going to offer him an opportunity to address the council if he would so wish. We did read your proclamation. We're in full support of that, but you're welcome to comment on that too if you would like.
Yeah, I think it's self-explanatory, but the city has been very supportive of the employer reserve and guards, and we just think that it doesn't make any sense not to do a proclamation like that. It's been a wonderful opportunity to have worked with this organization. They've put on some events for employers at Barnes and at Westover. And it really is eye-opening, especially to the private sector employers, as to really the services that are provided by these individuals when they're not at their normal workplace. So it's a pleasure to be able to do that. I believe you also got a couple of financial requests. Hate to run them in like that, but there wasn't enough time to put it all together in order to get it into your packet. So I apologize for them coming in late like this, but they need to get addressed. So.
Okay.
And I don't know if anyone had any questions. I apologize for being late. I was at an interview with the Mass Teachers Association.
Anybody have any questions for the mayor? Seeing none? Thank you very much. We'll continue with reports of standing committees. Given attendance, Counselor Hagan, you have public safety?
Chairman McCoy and our other member, Counselor Winnie, both didn't attend tonight, so I'll handle public safety. We are going to have a public safety subcommittee meeting on September 14th, which is September 24th, which is next Tuesday at 6 p.m. at Conference Room 1 of Payson. 1A.
A.
Conference Room A. Oh, 1 is downstairs. I'm so used to having finance up there. Conference Room A in the basement. At that time, we'll be taking up several of the items on public safety. The WEMCO utility work at Fort Hill, and we'll start working perhaps on the request for the 3 street acceptances, and we will continue any possible discussion we have still. I don't know how far the chief has got with some of the additional observations he was going to have his officers make in the area of Garfield and Histon, but we will discuss that if possible. But what I would like to do is request a public hearing on the WEMCO utility work at Fort Hill for October 2nd.
Second.
We have a motion on the table for a public hearing for the request from WEMCO concerning the utility work on Fort Hill Road. Is there any further discussion on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any objections or abstentions? Motion passes. Counselor Hagan, you still have the floor.
That concludes public safety.
Thank you very much. Appointments, Counselor Ziegler.
Okay, well, with Chair Counselor Winnie and Counselor McCoy out at 5:45 this evening, Council President Cobb and I met and discussed the appointment of Christy Crutchfield to the ECA. And at this time, I would like to move that forward to the full council for consideration. For Christy Crutchfield to the ECA for a term expiration of 12/31/13.
Second.
We have a motion on the table to recommend approval of the mayoral appointment of Christy Crutchfield to the ECA Plus Board with a term expiration of 12/31/13.
Correct.
Is there any further comment on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any objections or abstentions? Motion passes. Counselor Ziegler, could you move to new business?
In new business, we have 2 mayoral appointments. We have Anthony Corella for Plumbing and Gas Inspector, term expiration of 12/31/16, and Amber Bowles for the Planning Board, also for 12/31/16. And I would request that we move this to committee.
Second.
We have a motion on the table to move the aforementioned mayoral appointments to committee for review and consideration. Is there a time and date for your next meeting?
October 2nd at 5:45.
Okay. For October 2nd at 5:45, is there any further comment on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any objections or abstentions? Motion passes. Counselor Ziegler?
That's all. Thank you.
Concludes. We go to ordinance. Counselor Derby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last Tuesday, on September 10th, we had a joint public hearing with the Planning Board to discuss some of the amendments regarding the special permit process. Councilor Cobb was present, as was other councilors. We continued the public hearing after discussion. We decided to continue it to September 24th at 6:30 p.m. So that is going to be our public hearing continued. It will be downstairs in conference room B. Yes. And that's my report.
Thank you. Property, Counselor Psychowski?
Yes, we're in the midst of a little conflict here of what time we're going to set a meeting for discussing the Parsons Street School. Salem said he was going to come up with a date later on this evening. Did you come up with a date?
Not yet. We need to check with the school.
Okay, we'll get back to you on that. That's the end of the report.
Okay, new date forthcoming. The clerk will notify me when that date is in. I'll get some messages out.
Was I here?
Okay. Thank you very much. That said, since we've already handled the new business on the agenda, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion on the table to adjourn. Any further comment on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.